You know, tax proposals by some of the Democrats range from a 70% tax rate from freshman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez all the way to a 90% tax rate proposal by Joaquin Castro. Heck, let's just make it 100% and the bookkeeping gets easy. I mean, what's even more stunning is that in recent polls, 56% of Americans say they would support it. Now, of course, they think it won't hurt them if those taxes are only applied to people who make more money than they do. So even though those in the top 20% of the income already pay 87% of all the taxes, many Americans say, tax them even more. They can afford it. Now look, don't get me wrong. I'm not feeling sorry for billionaires, but though I grew up poor, my parents refused to let me think that I would somehow be better off if rich people were worse off. I mean, being envious and coveting what others have, that doesn't make me any happier. And if I were to succeed in finding a way to destroy the wealth of the really prosperous people, I mean, how does that improve my life or that of America? Personally, I think the entire tax code stinks. I really do. And here's why. Our tax code penalizes productivity and it subsidizes irresponsibility. We're taxed for our work in the form of an income tax. So the more we make, the higher, not just the tax, the higher the rate goes. Now, the incentive is diminished to work if the government gets a bigger chunk based on my working harder. And we also get taxed if we save money. We get taxed if we make good investments or if we're smart enough to buy things when their prices are low and then sell them when they're high. And by the way, if we die without spending all of our money and we wish to leave it to our family or our church, maybe a charity or a family farm, good old Uncle Sam sticks his hand right into our coffin and he goes for our pocket with a death tax on inheritance, even though every bit of that money has already been taxed while we earned it, while we saved it, while we managed it, and now, even after we died. So instead of taxing our productivity, here's a little idea developed by some of the smartest economists in the country. Pay taxes when we consume rather than when we produce. After all, the strength of our economy is only possible when people work, save, invest, and share. Shouldn't the government encourage work instead of punish it? Now, this plan is called the fair tax. And when I first heard about it, around 12 years ago, it made so much sense that I figured, well, the government will never do it. Makes too much sense. It's pretty simple. Instead of paying taxes when we produce, we pay tax when we consume. In other words, it's like a sales tax. It eliminates all taxes on income, payroll, capital gains, inheritance, and savings. And it completely eliminates the IRS. They're gone. Yes. So here's what happens. We would pay taxes when we buy stuff, and not when we buy used stuff, because that's already been taxed, but only new stuff. So the more we consume, the more we will pay. But I don't think we have to worry that people won't keep buying stuff. Heck, we're Americans, that's what we do. And you know who buys really expensive stuff? Rich people. So if soaking the rich is what you live for, you love the fair tax. But if you don't want to pay a bunch of taxes, you control it by what you consume. So if we want people to work harder, save more, invest in new products and businesses, and leave something for the next generation other than a pile of overdue bills, then reward that behavior because we'll get more of it. From time to time, I'll try to tell you more about the fair tax because it isn't a Democrat or a Republican proposal. It is a common sense idea that works way better than taxing people up to 90% of their income and make them just stop working so they can live off the government. Because when that happens, it'll be just like Margaret Thatcher warned. The problem with socialism is that sooner or later, you run out of other people's money.
Watch Huckabee on Saturdays and again on Sundays at 8, 7 Central, only on TBN.